Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo and it's great to be back on the show again this week. It's big, it's compelling, it's captivating. That's how you describe the Sharjah International Book Fair, which holds every year in the city of Sharjah, one of the 7 emirates of the United Arab Emirates. People like to call the country UAE. So Sharjah is the 3rd biggest of the 7 emirates of the UAE. Now, the book fair there is one we have visited for several years. It's always exciting for us to go to the Sharjah International Book Fair and experience the glitz, the glamour, and it's just a wonderful book fair, one of the biggest in the world. Well, the Sharjah authorities like to say right now that it is the biggest book fair in the world. Now, our own correspondent, Halima Gayam, visited the Sharjah International Book Fair this year, which is the 40th edition of the book fair, and it was an exciting time for her. Here's a report on the book fair.
The Sharjah International Book Fair is the gateway to the audience who love the written word. The 2021 edition is the biggest since 1982, despite happening post the COVID-19 pandemic. The Sharjah Book Authority have announced that for the first time, the fair has become the world's largest book fair in deals it struck in publishing and selling rights. It holds every year at the center, the Expo Center, located in the heart of the region, in Sharjah city. An event that the pandemic did not halt last year slides into its Rabi Jubilee. The 11-day annual Cosmopolitan Gathering is inaugurated by its initiator, a bibliophile who rules the city, Sheikh Muhammad Al-Qasimi. No COVID-19 tests, screening prerequisites, or vaccine certificates needed this year, except a compulsion on the use of face masks. One item has brought this group of people to the UAE, the book. Lovers of the written word are here again, as they have been doing every November for 40 years. The decor is books. The atmosphere is books. Books, books, more books, and everything books. For children, for adults, rare ones, manuscripts, tech types, cutting across ages, cultures, genres, genders, the power resonates. Sharjah International Book Fair has become a globally respected platform for publishers to present their titles, authors to showcase their works, book lovers to connect, and forum to hold literary discussions. With 15 million books from over 1,600 Arab and foreign publishers, 1.3 million unique titles with 110,000 of them making their debut, 85 authors and creatives from 22 countries. The 40th edition of the 11-day cultural extravaganza stands peculiar to the 39 other edition. Authorities say it gets bigger and better with every edition and has continued to re-echo its stance, saying, if you're into something, you're into books. The Sharjah authorities announced that it has become the world's top book fair.
Everything in this book fair is unique by itself. Today we are the #1 over the world by being the largest in selling and buying rice by the professional who attended the book fair of this year. It's an amazing event of the year by having over 580 professional visitors and rights attending the book fair of selling and buying rice in the Sharjah International Book Fair. It is one of the best events in the world to take place over the year. And we were the first one over the world to take it after the pandemic, to have an exhibition taking place after the pandemic. It shows you the big impact of the literature, not only the Arabic literature, but the whole world literature to take place in Sharjah. You see the African literature, you see the Arab literature, you see the Asian literature, you see the European literature, the United States, the North, the South and the North America literature are among of the attending over here. It's an amazing event. We are keeping and maintaining the vision of His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan Al-Qasimi through the DNA of this Sharjah Book Fair.
Kuwaiti novelist and short story writer Taleb El-Rafai is decorated as the Cultural Personality of the Year. Spain stands as the guest of honor, showcasing its literature and culture. Its authorities pledged to donate these books to a new library in Sharjah to be funded by it. The fair enjoys the presence of the winner of the 2021 Nobel Prize in Literature, Abdul Razak Gurna.
Thank you so much.
The Tanzanian descent, who is a former lecturer at the Bayero University, Kano, northwest Nigeria, grants the audience an interview.
I mean, one of the amazing things about the award of the prize is that people in Zanzibar were overjoyed, people in other parts of Africa were overjoyed, people in parts of the Middle East were saying they were so happy that somebody of Arab ancestry has won. I was Zanzibari, I'm also of other ancestry, that doesn't matter. People in Britain were very pleased, people in other places. Fine, I'm happy for all of that. I'm happy to be all of this.
Gurna answers questions on the length of period it took an African to take the Nobel Prize again.
About the Nobel, I don't know, because I don't know how the Swedish Academy does its business. Nobody that I know of has ever said Abdul Razak Gurna is a candidate. So when they came and announced that to me, wow, I thought this is a joke. Nuruddin Farah and Douglas Yongo were constants, and they were candidates every year, and perhaps they deserved it. But the Swedish Academy had other ideas and decided that I deserved it. So who am I to argue?
All right, let's get some...
Television host and comedian Trevor Noah visits. He recounts memories of his South African childhood, which prompted his book, Born a Crime.
When I wrote the book, the one thing I promised was to put the truth on the page and then deal with it from there. And it was easier said than done, because there were moments when I was writing going, I don't want to, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed of how I grew up. I was embarrassed of how poor my family was. I was embarrassed that I grew up in a home of domestic abuse. I was embarrassed, genuinely, because you know, as people, we want to put out a picture of perfection because we don't want to be judged by other people. And then what happened, ironically, was I wrote the book, published the book, and then people would come up to me and say, hey, I went through the same thing. Thank you for sharing that, because I feel seen, even though you were just saying that for yourself. And so that was honestly one of my favorite experiences of writing the book.
The school trip tradition returns this year after being cancelled last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Dozens of school pupils across ages have come to get access to the world of books and to experience a diversity of literature. From pavilion to pavilion they move. The enthusiasm is glaring. They choose their books of interest. No hesitation, they pay. Friends of cancer patients participate in this year's event with the launch of their first book titled Nujun in Arabic, which means survivors. They signed the book, which will extend the advocacy of the non-profit organization.
We are here today to launch one of our book for the survivors. There are 15 survivors share their story and they're written by their own. And this book was published today. And our caregiver Horia, last 12 years, she is caregiver in FOCP, and she was the who done the initiatives for this book, and we today launched it.
14-year-old Omar Osam is excited to have won the battle.
I feel so proud of this achievement. It's a so good achievement that I have done in my life, and also it's not easy to defeat the cancer, and it's like not easy at all. And it's all about my family and God and everything. It was chemo. It was very hard that I had like a surgery a month, every surgery a month, and it wasn't hard at all. Every week I was putting blood and all of that stuff. It wasn't easy at all, but and also it was far from my house. It was like Sharjah to Al Ain and Sharjah to Al Ain, but it's thank God that I finished. I defeated this cancer.
Of the 1,000 activities organized, there are 40 workshops of several topics to educate and entertain the children. The Sharjah Book Authority's message to book lovers previously was "The world reads from Sharjah." But this year, the message is, there is always a right book. Over 1.6 million people from 109 nationalities attend the event. 51.9% are women, 48.1% men, 1.3% are under 15 years old, 52.2% between 16 and 30, 35.5% are 31 to 45-year-olds, 11.1% are 46-year-old and older. This means there are more women and people between 16 and 30 years old at the fair. For the Sharjah Book Authority, literature has no boundaries, and it will continue to promote the written word to the world. It's a culture they believe will go beyond the celebration of authors. You attend the Sharjah International Book Fair not a book lover, not an enthusiast. Be sure to get fascinated. The joy of being in a book-loving crowd will envelop you. You get to see the power of books. You get to see how the book brings together millions of people from diverse backgrounds under one roof. And in the midst of millions of books, there is always a right book.
It's very difficult to capture on camera what Halima was trying to describe to us there. The Sharjah International Book Fair is really, really fascinating. You have to be there to experience the crowd and to experience all the hundreds of activities that go on at the book fair, you know, to really get a feel of it. Back home in Nigeria, Lagos Book and Art Festival has been going on for 23 years. Now, to organize a book festival in Nigeria for 23 years is no mean feat because the challenges are enormous. There's lack of funding, lack of government support. Yet, this team of KORA, Committee of Relevant Arts, have been organizing this book festival for 23 years. The 23rd edition of LABAF, Lagos Book and Art Festival, that's what is shortened to LABAF, came up recently, and we were there. Here's a clip on how it went.
It's the 23rd edition of the longest-running book festival in Nigeria, the Lagos Book and Arts Festival, popularly known as LABAF. It's the Culture Icons Day of the festival. LABAF, an annual festival, is widely acknowledged as the biggest culture picnic in Nigeria. This year, like in previous years, it attracts publishers, book lovers, literary activists, artists, and members of the public. The Culture Icons Day segment plays host to children and students who are mentored through workshops on reading, writing, poetry, and lots more.
The other one that I said, and that's going to be much shorter than this one.
Superstar actress and art activist Joke Silva mentors students on the importance of education through arts.
You are chasing your dreams. Your dream is not going to be actualized. It's not going to happen just like that. Do you understand? I mean, I chased the dream of becoming an actor. I've been an actor now for 40 years. And I remember the early years, and how part of being an actor was that you were working continuously. And the thing is, to be a successful actor, people have to know you. But that recognition didn't come for many years. Did I give up? No. What I was trying to say is that you hold fast to your dreams. You won't make it immediately, but you keep working at it.
Some of the kids highlight the importance of the festival.
Festival is actually very educative. It's a great way of educating young people and showing the importance of books because a lot of people don't read. A lot of people feel that books are not necessary. So festivals like this, if there are more festivals like this, I feel like reading will become a habit and a culture too.
There is the need for continuous encouragement in speaking, reading and writing among school children.
This segment of the Lagos Arts and Books Festival is for children, and it sort of brings the school children together. They meet some of our literary figures and they meet some people in the entertainment industry who speak with them, who encourage them, who try to mentor them through the spoken word. I sort of teach these children how to read well and then their elocution, because you find that in the schools they're not teaching the children how to pronounce the TH. So we have to teach them how to pronounce words properly and how to be able to make themselves understood, because they have ideas, but because they are short of vocab, they can't express themselves. So we really encourage them to read, and then I encourage them to even write poetry. We stay in class, we give a lesson, and then we just write a poem there and then.
Now my take on this is this. And I think that Aisha also says that much, in the book.
Other panelists and guests gather to have readings and conversations around some of the books of the festival. The co-founder of LABAF and Committee of Relevant Arts, Jaman Anikulakbo, talks about the event.
We've become a yearly festival, but we've transited from being a literary festival to a literacy, a festival for literacy. So we emphasize on education, enlightenment, and empowerment, especially of the young people. So you see, mostly the people you see in our festival are very young people, but we believe that they're actually the one who should be running things now, or we should get them prepared for the festival, for the future. So what is unique about this year's festival is the theme that we have chosen. And we chose this theme November last year. Once we finished the festival this year, we fixed the theme for next year. So what is unique is that we thought that we should discuss this, a fork in the road, which is like that Nigeria is now at a crossroad. We've gotten to the crossroad, and that's the theme of the conference that is going on now. We're now at the crossroad that if you're not careful, we may end up in the wrong place.
He also highlights some of the challenges of the festival.
The challenges of running a festival like this in a nation like Nigeria, first of all, in a city like Lagos, is huge, in the sense that there are no facilities. Even where there are facilities, the roads are bad. I mean, the traffic is so bad. So people are coming for an event and you have timed it, and then they can't get here on time. Your speaker is still locked down somewhere. And so it's a lot of stress. That's apart from the biggest problem, which is funding. Funding has been the biggest problem. In terms of ideas, we have no problem. In terms of interest of people, we have no problem. But in terms of having funding to run the festival at the scale that we want to run it, we cannot.
Co-convener of Lagos Book and Art Festival, Tony Akionsho, tells more about Labaf's story.
I and some other people founded the Committee for Relevant Art 30 years ago. We started the Lagos Book and Art Festival 22 years ago, where it was essentially to call attention to the book, to help increase awareness of reading, and because it would be very lifeless if it was just about books and book fair or something. We needed to have a programmed feast, so we called it a festival, and we didn't call it a literary festival. We called it a book festival. So 22 years ago, there were no book festivals in the country. There was a book fair, which was essentially a marketplace. But a book festival means programs, means a series of conversations, means art exhibition alongside with the books. Also means, drama skits, screening of films, those other ancillary things that people can do in a festival setting.
Labaf has come a long way, considering how enormously challenging it is to run a book and art festival in Nigeria. But the festival has forged on nevertheless, thanks to its relentless founders. One thing the Lagos Book and Art Festival reminds us of is that the merits of promoting literature and arts in any developing society are invaluable.
It's our desire on this show to see governments at local government, state levels, and even the federal level in Nigeria begin to support and fund book fairs and book festivals. And not just the government, but also the private sector should come in and back these book festivals and book fairs. They help to preserve our history and our culture, and they provide platforms for talents to be exhibited and exposed, and people to be celebrated. We need to really work on this. Look at the Sharjah International Book Fair, how big and how glamorous it is, how international in scope it is. We need to have our own book fairs and book festivals, giving us those types of outcomes and results in Nigeria. Well, this is where we have to end the show. As always, we're very delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumu. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.